This is just a quick demonstration of how to set up flights inside of Polli and how the data is consolidated around project areas, so you have an appreciation for what we've done to create the tool to support both linear as well as large areas of conservation monitoring and habitat monitoring. So first thing we do is we get started. We start with a project area, and so we'll create the site here, and then we'll go up here and we will set up this project area. I'm going to use this road as an example. This could be any shape, any size, whatever you want to do. You can set all of this up and use this as your project area. I'm just going to call it a 2-mile demo because we're going to start in the center of this and then fly the right of way on both sides of the road so that we can get all the data that we need. And so captured it here. Then the next thing I'm going to do is in my 2-mile demo, I need to create a flight plan. It's a linear survey. Place this here. We're going to go up to here. And this is where we're going to start, right in that location. So then we can get ourselves set up to do this. Make it real easy. A little less messy, I guess. And this up like that. And we'll get up here. Do like this. Okay, so you get the idea. We could probably be a little closer to the edge and all that sort of stuff, but for planning purposes, you get a feel for what this looks like. So then we hit OK, and the flight plan name, we're going to call it 4-mile route. Okay, and we're going to create a flight plan to do that. So once we've established the flight plan, then we just want to go in and make sure that everything looks good. So we'll go inside a 2-mile demo, and we're going to view the flight plans. And inside the flight plans, you can see that this is our 4-mile route that we created. 1 up, 2 down, another 1 back. And then, if we'd like, we can actually get in and view the details of this flight. And a few examples of how the technology works. Here's the coverage area. We can take the coverage area and go anywhere from 0, or wouldn't make sense, but a low percentage all the way up to 105%. So there's just a little bit of overlap. We have we've done this so that none of the imagery has to be stitched, and all that you have to do is run the imagery through the processing, and we use the metadata inside of there to place the images and develop the statistics that get generated. So then we've got that in here. If there's something unique or specific about the flight that you want to change, this drone happens to be one that we fly really low. So the mission altitude is lower here. We can have a custom route here if we want to. We have terrain hugging so that in the event that you're in a lot of elevation change, using terrain hugging, the drone will follow the terrain. Whether you have terrain hugging or not as a feature in your, or sensors for that on your drone, we built that into the tool. And then lastly, here's another example. We'd capture 513 photos on this flight. If we switch over to the air peak, which happens to be a different aircraft, it's going to tell us that we've got 176 images, and then it will switch configurations to fly where you need it to. When we're done, we go back here into our pre-flight. We're all set to go. Everything's good. So next time you connect to the drone with your controller, and you're set to go. This is available and accessible online. So if you have a cellular service that connects to your tablet, you can do that. Otherwise, you can preload the flights before you depart. And the plan would be, if you have a full day of flying, all of this can be set up and accomplished before you go. And then when you get to the field, all of this data and information is there and available to you. First thing we do is go to the location. This happens to be the location we're at. and I want to view the flight plans that are at this location. We collected data for this particular flight, and so because of that, we're going to upload the data to that flight plan. And then select the data from, in this case, my computer. There's the data that we wanted. We select the data, and we agree to upload it. The mission altitude, we're confirming the mission altitude here. And then from there, we have the opportunity to decide what we want to do with this data. In the event that you think you may have some bad images in here, you have the ability to review each one of the individual images before the upload is completed. That way, it saves you time. And then in this case, we're only going to process this to count milkweed. We could use it for floral resources, but I'll get into what both of these are later. But quickly, just showing you how this works. And then from here, we select upload. And before we do this, it tells you, okay, for us to do this and copy these images, process these images, it's going to require this amount. And you click confirm, and then the data starts uploading. It should be noted that once the data uploads, it will automatically start the milkweed analytic. And when the processing is complete, it will be back in your account. The data has already been sent back. It's been processed, and it's back in our account. So we're going to go in here and select that, view analytics. And then from the analytics area, we have the opportunity to take a look at what we want to see. So it could be common milkweed or the floral resources. We'll start with common milkweed. And once that data is loaded, then the first thing we can do is look at each one of the individual images with our cursor. Before we even have to open anything, we can just use this as an opportunity for us to go along and take a look at what we see or what might be in here, what the milkweed count is, whatever we're trying to see, we have the ability to do that. So then from there, I'm going to select and open an image, and pick this one, that's fine. And real quickly, what you're able to see is the image that was captured with the drone, and then you have the ability to zoom in and out of the image, so you've got full resolution, so you can see what's going on here. Okay, and then of course each one of the boxes indicates where a milkweed was found, and then count information, area of coverage, and the image number are all here. So in the event that you ever want to do anything with it, and then of course you can download the data from here as well. So I'm going to close this, and then the other option is for us to look at the floral resources. And when I open this, again, we have the ability to see what's going on in these images, but it's a little different. We're not just looking for one thing, we're characterizing the entire image. So as we go along here, you can see the numbers change as the environment changes or the habitat changes here. And so if we go down to that same image that we just looked at and open that image, we have the ability to see these 9 separate categories that are in this image. We get a good characterization of what we're seeing. So you've got an overlay of a mask that uses these colors to identify what's going on in this image. So for example, we've got some dry vegetation here, and you can see some of that dry vegetation. And if I turn this off, you can see where that changes, okay? You have the ability to see what is dry vegetation versus what isn't. Or maybe we just want to look at bare soil. And if I select bare soil, of course, it's going to expose the gravel road along the side, as well as any open spots that are in the field, okay? And so from there, we can scroll in on the image, and we can change the opacity. So we might be questioning, what are these little purple things here on the left? And if I go over here a little bit and take a look, oh, those are flowers. I can see that now. I can see that that's characterizing that properly. And then to confirm, I can turn those off, and sure enough, there they are. They're all over in here. Okay, so that's the interactiveness of this, and it really provides a nice tool if you're trying to understand what you're seeing. You can use the opacity and change that to assist you in what you're trying to view. Starting out, we've got shape files. If you want to download and export all of your sites, you have the ability to do that, and all of that information is here and at your disposal. And then if you want to export flight plans, all that you need to do is select the flight plans phase down here, or option down here, and then go from there. Then for additional reporting, let's go into flight tests. That's where we've been. We'll go into analytics, and the first thing we can do is select which analytic we want to see. In this case, we want to look at common milkweed. I look at common milkweed, and then the first thing that I would do here from a reporting perspective is I've got this download that, drop-down menu that allows us to download individual image weed counts. This is in a CSV. Landowners report, which I'll show here in a moment, and then other information that you may want to have is all here. This is accumulation of all of the flights that have transpired in here. So then we would go along and select, view what the contents are within each one of the individual images. And so just with the cursor, it quickly tells us the image number, the area of coverage, these are roughly 1/10 of an acre, and then what the count is in any one of these individual images. So if I select this one here, it'll quickly open up the image, and we go to the full resolution image at this point. So the data is all available here. So if you want to try and get in and zoom way in and see what you're looking at, here's an example of a milkweed right here at full resolution, and a box around it. You can see there are 13 in here. So if we zoom back out and you start counting up the boxes, there'd be a total of 13 separate boxes inside of here. Then once you ask or select the landowner's report, then this is the information that you'd receive, and it shows you the concentration of milkweed along the flight route, and then provides an image and some statistics about the actual flight. Okay. Then option number 2 is for us to go in and look at floral resources. And this is an interesting tool that's new for 2024 season, and it provides 9 separate categories and breaks out each pixel in every image into 9 separate categories. And so those categories, this is a list of all of them on the left here. That is a culmination of all of the data that's been selected here. And so then we can go into an individual image, and let's see here, I'll pick the same one we were just in. And there might be something unique or different here that we would like to look at or compare, and have the ability to do that at the image level. Now that the image is open, then what we'll do is, first of all, along the left-hand side, we have the ability to control what layers we're seeing or not seeing. So for example, if we wanted to get rid of all, if we wanted to see where the bare soil is being identified, we can turn those layers on and off, and you can see where they are with those colors. And then the other thing we could do, for example, is find dry vegetation. So there's dry vegetation in these images, and we can turn that on and off to see where that might be. And then scrolling in, we might want to use this to help us identify what these purple things are here. It looks like they're flowers, but let's make sure. Yeah, for sure. You can see everywhere in here, those are the flowers that are inside of here. And we've got the ability to identify and break those out as well for reporting purposes and observation purposes for pollinators. So that's it for now. It's a very interactive tool, provides you the ability to get in and understand the specifics of any individual image. And then these 9 separate layers are also produced in a report. And so this report goes in and shows you the concentrations in any of these individual areas, so that, go the other way, so you can get a feel for where the higher concentrations are in any of these individual images. And, trees, for example, not a whole lot of trees in here, but there's a concentration of them here, a little bit down at the end, and a little bit less, but some here as well. So that's it for now. And thank you for your interest in Polli.